I don't think that Gen Xers especially are looking for the single every couple months. One of our favorite bands, Mudvayne,
Yeah.
uh, you know, obviously, arguably one of the best, especially new metal bands of
Mm.
all time, I would say. So they did something kind of weird this last week, and they,
Yeah, they did.
obviously they've been uploading a couple new singles or whatever, which has been great.
Hmm.
But then they took them down, remixed them, and or let me rephrase it: the remix took down those singles and stuck up new ones that are remixed.
Yeah.
Which I have my thoughts. First and foremost, I think it's cool that they're doing that because obviously they care.
Yeah.
They're not just like here, throw something out, which I think is what they initially were doing. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you listened to the differences of the two songs?
I haven't. And I'm going to be very honest with you as to why. I
Okay.
didn't really care for him to begin
Oh,
with.
yeah, the songs. So
It's like, hurt people, hurt people.
yep,
Okay, I get what you're doing. And the music is kind of, I don't know. I guess, I expected a little bit more for
it's
the
a little
first
basic.
couple right out of the gate.
Yep, it's a little basic.
Um, no, I mean they're good songs, but I'm
Right.
just like, okay, I've heard them, I've listened to them. They're not going to be my go-to.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
So I
not they're
haven't
not the
heard the new mix.
typical LE50
Right.
or for what is the
It was
second one?
kind of where they left
Yeah.
off,
Yeah, it was. It was.
which is fine.
Yeah. But I will say this. This is the thing I wanted to bring up though. The one thing that I noticed the biggest difference was, and this is the thing, I mean, when you put together a demo song,
Mhm.
chances of it sounding 30% the same as what you originally demoed is obviously, that's what it usually is.
Right.
It changes and changes and evolves and changes and gets better and cleaner and, whatever.
Right. You mess with
But
sounds
the
and
one thing that I really liked about the Hurt People song was Chad's freaking vocals were so aggressive on that previous take.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's the exact same vocals and then they just mixed them different to pull them further into the mix or whatever they did. But like you could hear the crackle in the fry in his voice so
Mhm.
well on that recording. And now it sounds just like all of their polished stuff, which
Right.
I think it added to the element of that song that because I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, dang, he still has it and then some. Like that was
Yeah.
freaking wicked good how he's screaming in the song. And again, I agree with you. It's kind of a I don't want to say mid, song, but it's
Yeah.
it's a little basic. But
Yeah.
again, they don't need to be. I mean, they're Mudvayne. They don't need to be freaking because here's the thing, and I was having a great conversation about this last night. If you look at Mudvayne compared to Slipknot,
Mhm.
I want to say that I think that Mudvayne freaking tops. And what I mean by that is I know Slipknot was to me, they were the ones that nudged the car onto a different road. Obviously they came out before Mudvayne. The one difference is that between those two bands is I feel like Mudvayne has been pretty freaking steady with not necessarily the cadence of how often they put out music, but the quality of what they put out is so much better in my opinion than Slipknot's. And I don't mean recordings like, quality of recording or studio or time or anything like that. I'm just saying you listen to everything basically from All Hope Is Gone, which I think is so ironic, from All Hope Is Gone onward of Slipknot to me, I'm not going to say it's garbage, but some of it's like unlistenable. Like I've listened to like their last two albums, I listened to them once and I was like, I can't like, okay, cool,
Right.
neat, and
Right.
moved on and forgotten. Like, hopefully the next album's good,
Right.
Whereas
Well,
Mudvayne, I'm like, it's pretty good stuff. It's not anything that
right.
like LD50 or, it's not gonna you're having simple rotation all the time, but it's
Yeah.
pretty freaking good.
I mean, to the Slipknot thing, I agree with you. Um, I'm gonna be honest, I only listened to a handful of songs off the last Slipknot album. And it's like, yeah, they're okay, but it's like you've got some core people missing
Yeah.
after all hope is gone, and
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to get that
Nope.
back. Well, you're not going to
Agreed.
ever get that back because they're gone.
Right.
I mean, I think the absence of Joey and Paul was noticeable, big
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
That's what really made it Slipknot. So it's like when you're in a band and you lose a key member, like a
Yeah.
key creative member, um, it's gonna you're gonna notice,
Yeah. Look at Corn
and exactly,
when the
you
head was
know,
gone. Jeez.
yeah, oh yeah. Then they
Poor
put out a
Monkey.
dubstep. Yeah, they put out a dubstep album
Monkey's
after
like,
Head left.
y'all heard the Skrillex?
Yeah, but with Mudvayne, it's all the key guy, it's all the core
Yeah,
guys,
they're all there, so
you
they're going to
know,
continue to make it.
and they're gonna
Yep.
continue to fire it off. Now, if kind of since I haven't heard it and I'm going to listen to it, if they did kind of pull those vocals back, and
Yeah.
that's a shame. That's
It
too
is.
bad.
I agree.
Because the song is called Hurt People, so it's like a vocal performance on a song called that. You expect there to be some of that fry and some of those super aggressive vocals, and somebody just absolutely losing their mind in a vocal booth, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what you got on the
Yep.
first one. So if
Yep.
they did that, then I would be curious as to why, from a creative standpoint, they thought they needed to do that. My guess is it wasn't from a creative standpoint. It was from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
I don't believe the songs were doing that well. What was the other song? What was the second song?
Oh,
I forget.
man, hold on.
I don't think they were doing as well as expected.
I agree.
And that's an opinion.
Well,
That's not based in any fact that I know, but I would venture to say that's probably why.
yeah, I think it's Sticks and Stones. Um,
Oh, that could be.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Sticks
Yeah.
and Stones. Now,
Yeah.
see, here's the thing with that though, too, is I think that they're their demographic, Mudvayne. I don't care what anybody says. I think that they're still on that cusp. Same thing's going on with Limp Bizkit, Slipknot, and all this stuff. They're gaining a new audience with
Yeah.
younger listeners,
Yeah.
which is really cool. However, I still think that their main demographic is us, and I don't think that Gen Xers, especially, are looking for the single every couple months. It's like I want an
Right.
album and I want to hear the whole thing back to back and I want to
Yeah.
binge it. And I think that that's where Mudvayne's trying to figure this out. And I think that that's probably
Yeah.
why they didn't do so good. So I've listened to the songs, but
Yeah.
I'm not going back and re-listening to them.
Right.
Like when I go back and listen to, like, say, Norma Jean, for example, it's like I freaking boom, I go and listen to the whole record. I don't
Right.
care about just two songs
Well,
and move
I mean,
on.
the same could be said for LD50.
Sure.
If I'm gonna listen to
Yep.
Dig again, I'm probably gonna listen to the majority of that album, if not the whole thing.
Right.
So I think that there's from a psychology standpoint, I think you're right. I think the marketing was maybe a little bit off there.
Yeah.
And they should have just said, okay, it's very possible that a full record is not done.
I think that's what
they
it
were
is.
doing this
Yep.
as some teasers, and like that's
Yep.
okay, but like you probably want to have some kind of release date for that album when you put those out, so you're actually using them to promote the record, because now they just look like standalone signals.
Right. Yeah. Then Yep. And then on top of that too, I mean, obviously, we've played live music for a long time and stuff, and it's when you put out something new, and especially when you're used to people singing along with you on your songs and everything like that. It's such a fun feeling and stuff. And I think that they're used to it, but it's also like they're very creative guys, and so I'm sure that they are writing new music. And they're like, we want to get this out in front of the fans and stuff, and then they put it out there, and everybody's like, yeah, this is cool, but nobody's like singing along with it. Nobody knows when the breakdowns are. Nobody knows when they.
Yeah.
And so they're probably like, let's put some new stuff out there because we're tired of playing songs that are 20 to 25 years old, and then it's like, let's put something out new and show that we're doing something. But then it's like, we don't get the feeling of that they know what the hell's going on, kind of a thing too. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably just a whole bunch, wrapped into that.
Yeah.
And, I
I
don't
got
know.
excited.
Yep, I agree. But again,
Yeah.
as a Mudvayne fan, are those two songs the cream of the crop for those guys? No.
Right.
However, it's still good, and it's still Mudvayne.
Right.
It still sounds like Mudvayne. It's just an interesting play. I can't remember a single band that's put something out and then took it back and re-put it out again.
Right.
Because they're not proud of it or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but I think you're right. Could be a total business decision. They might have not mixed it, and they might be mixing the album right now. So let's hey, let's go back and put those two out there. And
right. And it's also possible that, they are mixing like a full album, and, maybe they changed engineers and
Yeah,
people who are
that's what I'm
mixing the
thinking.
record, and it's like, okay, now the other songs sound different. Do we need to pull these
Yeah, that's
back?
that's what I was thinking.
So it
Yep.
sounds like the same production as the rest
Yeah.
of the album. That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these are entirely possible things.
Yep.
But what would have happened if, that went to press and they pressed physical copies and it was out? Then they
Right.
can't pull it back.
Yeah, but think about the collector's items though.
Well, that's true.
That
That's
would have
true.
been dope. That would have been really cool. Like, oh, remember this is
Yeah.
the lore behind that. And that's the other
Hmm.
thing. I mean, obviously there's no physical media that we have our hands on, as
Right.
fans. Everybody's just been listening to Spotify and Pandora and Apple Music, blah, blah,
Sure.
blah of it or whatever. But you know, I mean, think about that. Now all we have is just our memory of what those songs used to sound like. And
Hmm.
that's it. They're
Yeah,
gone. And
that's true.
maybe they're on YouTube somewhere, which I would imagine they probably are. But just
Somebody somewhere captured the audio,
yeah,
and um, and so yeah, I mean, if we wanted it, we could probably go find it.
sure.
Um, but that all comes to as Spotify raises their prices again.
Yeah, they just went
It
up
went
like
up
another
another
two
dollar a
bucks.
month.
Yeah, yeah,
$2 for the family plan and
yeah,
$1 for the individual plans. It's like, guys, come on.
yeah. It's getting
Anyways,
crazy.
I don't need to go off about that again, but I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Solve your AI problem
that's right.
and then tell me that you're raising the price.
Right. Either way.
Makes
So
no
yeah,
sense.
so
Anyways,
Mudvayne
yeah.
fans. Yeah, man. Like tell us what you think. Tell us what you think of the difference between the songs. Was it a good
Yeah.
move? Was it a bad move? Which version do you like better?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Which
you
version do
know,
you like better?
I like the first one better. I just there's something about just that raw artistic value of something that's pre-polished that I just really like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes listening to demos where it's just first crack, those are hard. Those are hard. But
Right. Yeah.
when it's let's give it this and then let's up the levels, let's layer, let's do, and they're like, I think this is pretty good. That's usually to me is
Yeah.
a good sweet spot of something. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's where those songs were. And now, again, his vocals, again, still great. Chad is a great vocalist, but it really
Yes.
sounds like the end of all things to come to me, as far as like his vocal sound, where it's at in the
Right.
mix. And that's cool, whatever,
Yeah.
I
Who
mean, if it would have
produced it?
came out like this, I would have been like, cool, it sounds like my vein.
Who produced
Uh,
them? Do you know?
I don't know.
Or who produced those songs?
I don't
I'd be
know.
curious because, it's like kind of going back to the whole, Ross Robinson vocal production kind of style. Like, you're trying to elicit a performance that, they're not going to be able to do on their own. Like you have to get them into a headspace and all these kinds of things. And it's like, it kind of sounded like Chad was there. And if they pulled it back and they calmed it down a little bit,
Yeah.
to me, that's a shame and kind of doing a little bit of a disservice
Yeah.
to the song. Now, if there were other issues, like we said, if they needed to do it so it sounded the same in kind of the record sequence, okay, I get it.
Yep.
Put an alternate version
Correct. Yeah.
on that album
Yeah.
would
maybe
make
we'll
me
get
happy.
that. Maybe we'll get that. But
You
yes,
know,
this is a producer.
happy question mark.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
butcher this poor guy's name, but Nick Raskulinitz. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never heard of him, unfortunately.
Yeah. He's pretty prominent in metal.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, guys, let us know what you think.
Sure. Yep.
In the comments and yeah, I mean, should musicians be able to pull that stuff off streaming to retool it?
Right.
Because I mean that can be a slippery slope, man. It's like,
sure can.
It's like, okay, do I want to go pull some of my stuff off streaming and redo some things? Maybe. Hadn't thought about it until now.
Yeah.
I'm not going
Here
to.
we go. Let's do it.
We're going to re-record our entire record from 2005.
That's right.
We're going to call
let's
it a
do
20th anniversary edition, and we will finish that in 2030.
That's right. That's right. We'll probably go, what the hell are we doing this for?
Exactly.
It's going to kill us because we're old.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But, it's like, yeah, it's kind of that old, saying like, a piece of art is never done. It's just abandoned,
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Um, it's like, okay, to me, it's a slippery slope. You start pulling music down to tweak things. It's like, but they did it with nobody noticing. Like they didn't tell anybody they were doing it
They didn't. Yeah,
until like way later. So they
that's what's
tried to
kind of
be a
cool
little
about it.
sly about it.
Yep, and
They were
that's what's
trying to be
cool about
sly.
it. They didn't announce it. They weren't like, okay, guys, we weren't really happy with it, so this is what you get. It was just like they just, boop, boop,
Yeah.
and then we're probably hoping that. And but what's cool is the people noticed, and they all came
Yeah.
together and said, "Hey, yo, this is different." It's like they're gaslighting the hell out of us. It's like, wait a minute,
You know,
I could have
yeah.
swore, yeah,
It's actually kind of it's interesting. I'm kind of surprised the label let them do it.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
label just said, nope, that's already out there. And we've got numbers because
right,
everything reset.
yeah,
Any streaming numbers they
yep,
had gone.
yeah. That's crazy.
So, it's like,
That's a ballsy move, man.
it is ballsy.
And for a
Yeah.
tweak, to me, for a tweak, there's got to be something behind it, and at
Yeah.
some point I'm sure they'll address it and they'll say something and stuff, but very interesting, very interesting
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
So
Hey, it's their song, I guess.
yep,
Their songs. Well, it's the label songs, but
true,
and maybe the label wanted it done.
it could
Who
be,
knows?
could
Who
be.
knows?
Yep.
Downshift. I love that name. That's so cool.